10 habits that quietly transformed your life. Let's get right into it. Number 1, never go to zero. You've had those days, right? The ones where your brain feels like mashed potatoes and your to-do list looks like an ancient curse scroll. Everything inside you screams, not today. But here's the secret. Don't go to zero. Even when your motivation is flatlined, do one small thing. One push-up, one page, one text you've been meaning to send. It doesn't matter how small. What matters is that you showed up. You see, your brain doesn't measure effort in volume. It measures it in consistency. When you do something instead of nothing, you remind yourself, I'm still the kind of person who tries. That identity, not the outcome, is what keeps you from mentally falling apart. This is how resilience is built. Not in big wins, but in tiny refusals to give up completely. Because the moment you hit zero, your brain starts rewriting your story. It says, maybe this isn't who I am anymore. So, no matter how small, always do something. Not for productivity, but for your sense of self. Number 2, the 2-minute thing. There's a trick that beats procrastination almost every time, and it only takes 2 minutes. The 2-minute rule isn't magic, it's psychology. When you tell your brain, I'll just do this for 2 minutes, it can't come up with excuses fast enough to stop you. The task feels too easy to resist, and once you start, momentum takes over. You plan to do 2 minutes of stretching. Suddenly you've done 10. You opened your laptop to just write the title, and somehow the paragraph wrote itself. Starting small doesn't make you weak. It makes you strategic. Because discipline isn't about brute force. It's about lowering the resistance until action feels natural. If motivation is the spark, then the 2-minute rule is the matchstick. Small, humble, but capable of lighting the whole fire. Number 3, screenshot everything. Your brain is great, but it's also lazy. It forgets ideas like a bad receptionist. You think of something brilliant in the shower, and poof, gone forever. So start capturing it all. Screenshot, jot, voice note, whatever keeps the thought alive. Because here's the truth. Your memory is short-term storage, not a library. Over time, these tiny captures, a quote, a random insight, a funny conversation, become a quiet map of your mind's evolution, your external brain. And when you revisit it, you'll see patterns, what inspires you, what frustrates you, what kind of thoughts you return to. That's not just data, that's identity in progress. The more you document, the more you understand what's shaping you, because life doesn't whisper lessons twice. You either catch them, or they drift away with yesterday's thoughts. Number 4, get weirder. You were not born to be a beige version of yourself. Here's the thing. Life feels heavier when you're constantly trying to blend in. Every time you hide your weirdness, the quirky laugh, the random hobby, the way you think too deeply about everything, you carry a tiny brick of shame. And all those bricks, they stack into walls. So, let yourself be weird, a little every day. Be the person who brings a notebook to a party, or who talks to their plants like old friends. Because that weirdness, that's your authenticity trying to breathe. The moment you stop editing yourself to fit into someone else's comfort zone, life gets lighter. You laugh louder. You attract people who get you. And you realize, being 1% weirder every day is just another way of saying you're becoming 1% more you. Number 5. And then what? Here's a question that quietly changes everything. And then what? You want to quit your job. Okay, and then what? You want to text your ex. Sure, and then what? You want to buy something expensive to feel better? Fine, and then what? This simple question pulls you out of impulse and into foresight. It forces your brain to play the movie forward. You start seeing beyond the instant hit of emotion and into the consequences that your emotional brain tends to hide. It's like having a built-in therapist who charges $0. And then what? Transforms knee-jerk reactions into thoughtful choices. Because when you zoom out far enough, you realize most regrets begin with things you didn't think past step 1. Number 6. Future me check. Here's a trick that quietly rewires your decision-making. Before you act, ask, what would the better version of me do right now? Not the perfect version, not the fantasy you, but the slightly wiser one. The one who drinks water before coffee. The one who actually reads the book they bought 6 months ago. The one who replies instead of ghosting. When you frame choices through that lens, your decisions shift from emotion to identity, because deep down, you already know what future you would do, you're just bargaining with comfort. But every time you vote in favor of that version, you're not just changing your habits, you're reinforcing who you believe you are. And that's powerful, because identity-based habits stick. You're not forcing discipline anymore. You're becoming someone for whom discipline feels natural. And the best part? Future you is already proud of you. You're just catching up. Number 7. Think systems, not goals. You've been lied to your whole life about goals. They told you to set goals, chase goals, manifest goals, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Goals rely on motivation, and motivation is unreliable. That's why so many resolutions die in February. Systems, on the other hand, don't care how you feel. A system is a process, not an outcome. You don't set a system, you live it. It's the daily rhythm that moves you forward even when you're not inspired. Instead of saying, I want to write a book, build the system, I write 200 words before breakfast. Instead of I want to get fit, build. I move my body for 20 minutes after work. Systems turn self-improvement into autopilot. They make progress inevitable because they remove decision fatigue. You don't need to ask, should I do this today? You just do it because it's part of who you are. Goals create pressure. Systems create freedom. Number 8. Ship small things. Perfection is the enemy of progress, and your brain is its favorite hostage. You keep telling yourself, I'll do it when I'm ready. But ready is just a fancy word for never. Instead, ship small things. Launch the idea even if it's rough. Post the draft. Share the sketch. Tell the story before it's perfectly edited. The people who win in the long run aren't the ones who do it best. They're the ones who keep doing it. Small acts of creation build quiet confidence. They teach your brain that action matters more than approval. Every small ship sends a message to your fear. I'm not waiting for perfect anymore. Because perfection might impress people, but progress, that transforms you. Number 9. Input-output balance. Your brain is like a sponge. It can only absorb so much before it starts leaking ideas all over the place. You spend hours consuming, scrolling, watching, reading, absorbing, but if you never output, all that knowledge just floats around, unused. So here's the rule. For every hour you take in, give 10 minutes back. Write a note, draw a summary, explain what you learned to someone else. Anything that turns consumption into creation. That's when knowledge becomes understanding, because your brain learns by doing, not just by listening. And let's be real, most of us don't need more information. We need more integration. Don't just feed your mind, let it digest. Otherwise, you're just mentally binge-watching your own potential. Number 10. Analog hour. Your phone is your best friend and your worst enemy. It gives you everything and steals it all back in attention. So, take 1 hour a day to go analog. No screens, no notifications, just life. Go for a walk, read an actual book, write something by hand. Listen, really listen, to the world around you. That hour won't make you less connected. It'll make you more human. You'll notice how loud silence can be, how strange it feels to be bored, and how ideas start appearing when your brain finally stops scrolling. Technology is powerful, but it's meant to serve you, not own you. When you unplug, you don't lose touch with the world. You finally touch it again. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.